All right, probably the most difficult thing that we do is we add and subtract rational expressions, especially when the denominators are not the same. So we have to make the denominators the same. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find the lowest common multiple. So we're going to use what we did in part 1. So the lowest common multiple, let's just factor the 2x cubed. So it's 2 times x times x times x. And then the 8x is 2 times 2 times 2, x, y, y. So if we find our lowest common multiple, 2 is used 3 times. So 2 times 2 times 2. Remember, it's the most. X is used 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And y is used twice. So remember, we're using each factor the most times out of the two numbers. And so here is our greatest common factor. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify this. So this is 8x cubed y squared. Now that we have our lowest common multiple, what we want to do is we're going to change the numerator. So to change the numerator, we're going to multiply the numerator by whatever's missing from the denominator. So if we have a 2x cubed, what's missing from 2x cubed to 8x cubed y? Well, what's missing is a 4 and a y squared. So I'm going to multiply the numerator, which is 3y, to get 12y cubed. Now I'm going to do the same thing with our other fraction. I'm going to multiply the 5z by what's missing between 8xy squared. Well, what's missing between the two, and when I say missing, I'm looking at our lowest common denominator to this. Well, the 8's the same, the x is missing x squared, so I'm going to write x squared, and y squared's there. So all I have to do is multiply the numerator, this one, by x squared. So if I multiply 5z times x squared, I get 5x squared z, and I just put it in alphabetical order. Now all we have to do is add these two, and if I add, they have to be like terms, so I can't even add them. So my answer ends up being, and let me just put it, 12y cubed plus 5x squared z, and we put it over our lowest common multiple, which is 8x cubed y squared. And so we end up adding the numerators, which is just really writing it, not so much actually adding. And we write our lowest common multiple. All right, so let's do one more subtraction. So we're not going to do anything differently with the subtraction, except that we'll subtract our subtraction sign. So let's find our lowest common multiple. Our lowest common multiple, 16. So let's go 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, b, b. And we have 5 times a times a times a, b. And so the 2's are being used 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 5's being used once. So there's our numbers. B is being used twice, and A is being used 3 times. So if I put them all together, 16 times 5, which is 80. So I have 80, A cubed, B squared. So there's my lowest common multiple. So now all I have to do is see what's missing between 80 and 16. And when I mean missing, divide. If I divide 80 by 16, what do I have? Well, I'm missing a 5. So I have my 3A. I'm going to multiply it by 5, and here's my denominator. So I'm missing the 5. I'm missing a cubed, so I'm going to multiply by a cubed. So I'm going to get that answer, which will be 15a to the 5th power. Then I'm going to do the same thing with the other fraction. So 8x over 5a cubed b. What's missing? Well, 5 into 80 is 16. A cubed's the same, and we're missing 1b. So if I multiply my numerator, 16 times 8, which is 8 for 128, and bx, then all I have to do is write a subtraction sign between them. So I'll just go ahead and write 15 a to the 5th minus 128 bx over our lowest common multiple, which we already figured out, 80 a cubed b squared. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do polynomial denominators. And polynomial denominators, we're going to do the exact same process, except now we have polynomials when we're factoring. So let's factor out our first polynomial. So what two numbers multiply to give us a negative 6 and add up to a negative 1? That's x minus 3 and x plus 2. And then we factor our second denominator. So if I factor out a 5, I get x plus 2. So now our lowest common multiple will be every factor used the most. So x minus 3 is going to be part of it, and then x plus 2 is once, and we have a 5. So there is my lowest common multiple. And so now I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to look at my numerator, x minus 1, And if I know this is x minus 3 and x plus 2, what's missing from this denominator to the lowest common multiple? Well, it's only a 5, so I'm going to multiply the numerator by 5. Then I'm going to do the next one, which we'll go ahead and get this answer. This would be 5 times x minus 1. I'm not going to multiply it out yet, but I'll just leave it. And then I'll do the next one. I have 4 over 5x. Actually, I want to have that as in factor form. So x plus 2. So what am I missing from our lowest common multiple? I'm missing the x minus 3. So I multiply 4x minus 3. And this is a subtraction problem, so I'm going to subtract those. So to subtract those, I actually need to multiply this out. So I'm going to multiply this out. This gives me 5x minus 5. This gives me 4x minus 12. And if I'm subtracting those, I'm going to end up with 1x and 7. So 1x plus 7, and that's going to go over my lowest common multiple, which I'm not going to multiply out, x plus 2. And so I end up with my answer completed.